Hello, new instructor, and welcome to the onboarding session focusing on service delivery methods and formats. This video will focus on the way Red Cross delivers training to accommodate different settings, business models, and individual needs. The agenda for this session includes a definition of service delivery, our service delivery methods, which are community, full service, and third-party provider, then an overview of course formats, which are full, review, challenge, and blended learning. Because our client populations are so diverse, we cannot deliver training the same way to everyone. We have service delivery methods that cater to, 1, individuals looking for training, 2, for groups that are looking for training, and 3, for entire companies that are looking for training. In general, we have 3 ways of delivering training. The first is the community course model, second is the full service model, and third is the third-party provider model. The community course model allows our courses to be available to anybody in the public. The model is the most inclusive, and anyone that has access to the internet can sign up for courses by going to redcross.org and navigating the training catalog. Customers can also sign up over the phone for training by calling 1-800-RED-CROSS. That's the Training Support Center, or TSC. Instructors will be assigned to these courses by the training scheduler, and in most cases, these classes will be held at the local Red Cross branch, office, or facility. Normally, the students sitting in these classes will have diverse backgrounds, as they will be coming from different industries and have different education levels and employers. The current standard for certification for a community course is for students to receive a digital certification via email after the course. Digital certifications are issued when you, the instructor, calls in to report the student grades to the Training Support Center, or TSC, at 1-800-RED-CROSS. This call must be made within 2 hours after the course ended. Typically, the participants will receive the digital certification email the same day of the community course. However, you should have some wallet card certificate cardstock handy in case you get an urgent request for written proof that the participant attended the training. You can handwrite the participant's name on a temporary wallet card. Because the students must be pre-registered, you'll be able to see and print a pre-populated community roster prior to the class that will have the student's name and their information. This way, you'll have an idea of how many people will be in the course, so you'll know how much equipment to bring and who is registered. Along with calling the Training Support Center after the course, you'll have to submit the completed roster document with the student names, their grades, your signature, the time you called the Training Support Center, the agent's name, and the case number. You'll be submitting this to the service delivery admin, and the method that we use for submitting rosters is electronically. You can do it by email or by fax. The next service delivery model is the full service model, which was designed for groups that are looking for exclusive training. This may be a group from a large or small business or a public-private organization that is seeking to have a certain number of members certified in CPR and first aid. Most of these group trainings will be fulfilled and executed at their workplace or at some off-site training location of their choice. However, every now and then, some full-service clients may choose to send their group to be exclusively trained at one of our Red Cross facilities. The demographic of these groups will be homogeneous, meaning they'll generally be coming from the same office, company, or industry. Because these trainings are not open to the public, the only people that will be attending the course are members of that exclusive group. You won't have a pre-printed roster. However, you will be in charge of calling the client contact to verify the number of students at least 3 business days before. Meaning, if the full-service class is scheduled on a Monday, you'll have to call the client no later than the Wednesday before. During your pre-course contact with the client, you'll be verifying as much logistical information as possible to avoid surprises on the day of your course. There's a script available for you to use when making this full-service pre-course call, and you must document the full-service call by sending a follow-up email to the client or using the verification method that your training specialist provides you. Because these trainings are contracted, review the contract carefully so that you can comply with all the terms. Unlike community classes, full service does not require you to call in the grades to the Training Support Center at the end of the course. Instead, make sure that you submitted your course records the same day the course was taught to your service delivery admin electronically, by fax, or by email. Typically, the participants will receive their digital certification 2 to 4 business days after you submit the full service record. So please make sure that you're prompt about submitting those records. If the client wants wallet cards for their group on the day of the training, you can bring pre-printed certificates and handwrite the names of the students that successfully completed the training that day. And the final service delivery method that the Red Cross honors is third-party providers. Sometimes there will be organizations that are attempting to train a large number of people, and for these organizations it will be more cost-effective to send one of their members, someone who's already doing training in their organization, to take training with the Red Cross to become an instructor and go back to their organization to certify their group. Some organizations are looking to train several hundred or several thousand people a year in CPR and first aid. So them having a training member at their site or instructor at their site will be the most viable option to fulfill their needs. There are 2 types of third-party provider options. The option that I just described about an instructor teaching for one organization is called AP, or authorized provider. The other model, or the other option for this model, is LTP, or licensed training providers, which are given permission by the Red Cross to open up their training to the general public. Generally, LTPs are entrepreneurial, and that's why they are trying to reach the general public. LTPs and APs are considered our external training partners, and the Red Cross finds them essential to our mission. Since the Red Cross can't teach CPR to everyone in the community, it is important for us to work with these third-party providers and make sure that they have what they need to fulfill their trainings. One thing I have to make sure that you understand is that internal Red Cross employees and volunteers are not allowed to become licensed training providers, as it is seen or recognized as a conflict of interest to provide a service to the general public as an internal member and also as an external member of the Red Cross. However, the Red Cross occasionally approves employees and volunteers to become APs, or authorized providers, because authorized providers are restricted to teach within only one external organization. Now for our first knowledge check. A class that was scheduled by the local Red Cross office and is being taught by a chapter instructor. Students can register online at redcross.org. What delivery option is this? A, community, B, full service, or C, third party? If you answered A, community, that is correct. ABC Company wants the Red Cross to send an instructor to their worksite to teach a one-day course. The local Red Cross staff schedules the training, and only ABC Company employees will be present. What delivery option is this? A, community, B, full service, or C, third party? If you answered B, full service, that is correct. XYZ Company needs to train 300 employees every year in CPR and first aid. They're going to send one of their employees to take the American Red Cross instructor course. XYZ Company will be purchasing their own equipment, mannequins, AED trainers, etc., and will be scheduling the dates and times of their employees' trainings independently. What delivery option is this? A, community, B, full service, or C, third party? If you answered C, third party, that is correct. The next knowledge check question is, you received a pre-printed roster that you downloaded and printed from the Learning Center. The name of the course is printed on this roster, along with the student names, their addresses, phone numbers, and their emails. We have all this information because these students pre-registered online or over the phone. What delivery option is this? A, community, B, full service, or C, third party? If you answered A, community, that is correct. You have been assigned to teach a class for Sally's daycare, and you will be teaching at their workplace. You made sure to bring a blank course record and addendum so that the students show up that day could write in their names and contact information so that you can properly enter their grades. What delivery option is this? A. Community, B. Full service, or C. Third party? If you answered full service, that is correct. Can internal Red Cross instructors also be independent third-party providers on the side? A. Yes, PTOCs can teach classes to anyone in the community that they want to. B. No, the American Red Cross does not allow any employees to teach as a third-party provider because of conflict of interest restrictions. Or C. Under some special circumstances, the Red Cross can provide approval to some internal instructors to be associated with a third-party provider if they are only teaching for one organization. If you answered C, that is correct. The next knowledge check question. The Red Cross receives many requests for group trainings from external organizations. These organizations wish to have the Red Cross send an instructor to train their group. The Red Cross and its organization enters into a contractual agreement outlining the dates of the training, training site, training space, requirements, expected equipment, and the number of participants. These contractual group trainings are fulfilled by the Red Cross and assigned to a Red Cross instructor internally. What delivery option is this? A. Community, B. Full service, or C. Third party? If you answered B. Full service, that is correct. So now that we understand the three ways that we deliver courses, we're going to talk about the four types of formats that you as an instructor may have when teaching Red Cross courses. The full course format uses traditional classroom learning led by an instructor, and the expectation from participants is none. Basically, a participant can enter the course without any previous knowledge about CPR and first aid and successfully complete the objectives of the course. The course is designed to combine activities, videos, and lectures along with skills practice, and skill testing to get the participants to meet all the criteria for certification. In order to execute full courses effectively and efficiently, you will have to follow your instructor manual from beginning to end, covering all the lecture points and playing all the video segments when prompted, as well as completing all the activities and required end-of-course scenarios. There will be courses that require examination in writing. Make sure that those are distributed. Our lay responder program does not require examination in writing. However, some employers may have credentialing requirements where written test is mandatory. Make sure to bring copies of the written test to your courses just in case. For professional rescuer full courses, the exams are mandatory. Always have copies of these final exams on hand to be able to hand out and grade. Participants must achieve an 80% to be considered passing. If you are using the course presentation, make sure that you are using the full version for a full course, as it will contain all the activities, lecture points, videos, and skill sheets. The course presentations are especially helpful in teaching a full course because they keep the instructor from accidentally skipping content. A review course is an abbreviated version of the same class, and its aim is to re-practice and reevaluate the skills that the participant previously learned the last time they took CPR. Since there is no lecture, the instructor uses the video to review the information about the particular skills. A participant can be recertified through a review course only if he or she meets one particular prerequisite. They must be currently certified in CPR first aid, meaning that they must be able to present a current CPR certificate showing that the date of validity on the card is current and not expired. The outline for a review course typically will flow like this. For each skill, 1, you play the video. 2, you guide the participants through the skills with coaching. 3, you test the participants with a prompt-only session where they practice independently. Even though it is a review course, the end-of-course scenarios are still required, and the written exams are still not required in the lay responder course, but the final exams are mandatory in the professional rescuer course. If you are looking for the outline on how to conduct a review course, you will find it on Instructor's Corner. That's www.instructorscorner.com. Some participants may choose the challenge course option if they are individuals that are confident that they can be tested on the skills without any sort of guidance from the instructor. In the challenge course format, there is no lecture, there is no video, and there is no review of the skills. It's strictly a test-based course. The individuals that likely will be taking these will be people that regularly are exposed to CPR skills. For example, EMTs, paramedics, nurses, or other CPR instructors may choose the challenge course. This is a great way for someone to be recertified without having to sit through a full course or a review course. During a challenge course, the instructor will not assist in guiding the participant. If the participant doesn't remember the steps, then they are marked as not successful, and then they'll have to register for one of our other three course formats. They can take a review class, or they could take a blended learning class, or they may choose to take a full course if that's the only option available at the time. If e-corner. And the final course format is the blended learning option. Blended learning combines traditional classroom learning with online learning. The participant will do an independent online study prior to coming into the skills session, so that way all lecture points are covered before they enter the course. So the participant will have previous knowledge. As an instructor, you will have to verify that they were able to do the online content before entering, because the online content has the videos, lectures, and quizzes. You have to make sure that the participant is ready to practice the skills without you having to cover lecture points. So the way that you verify this is by asking them if they have the certificate of completion for the online content. If they do, great. You can have them enter the class without a problem. All they'll have to do next is do the skills, have them watch the video, put them through a guided practice, and then a tested prompt-only practice. And when they're done with that, they can be certified. The course design for the lay responder course does not require the participants to do an end of course scenario to pass. However, if you are doing a professional rescuer level blended learning, then it is required for the participants to do the end of course scenarios and to do so effectively and efficiently. If a participant was not able to come into the class showing you their online completion certificate, then you will have to offer them to stay in the class, but they'll have to take the final written exam in person. So make sure that you have a copy of the written test so that the student can take the multiple choice test. If the participant chooses not to take the written examination, then they'll have to finish the online content before they can be certified. If a participant does take the written test in the classroom and they pass with an 80% or higher, then you can issue their certification. If they take the blended learning class over, or they can choose another course format to complete the class. Keep in mind that examinations for lay responder courses are generally not mandatory, but if somebody attended a blended learning class and didn't do the pre-course, then they will have to take the written examination in person if they want to get certified that same day. If somebody's taking a professional rescue or blended learning and they completed the online content at home, the online content included the test. So you don't need to give the professional rescuer test to that individual because they already passed with an 80% or higher when they did their independent study. Here's a chart that gives you a summary of the course formats and what's included and not included in each course format. For example, if we're looking at lectures and discussion, the only course format that has lecture and discussion is the full course version. The review, challenge, and blended learning course formats do not have lectures and discussion. if you are looking at what manuals and outlines that we're going to follow, for a full course, we follow the full instructor manual from beginning to end. In the review version, we're going to use the instructor manual, but we're going to use the review and challenge outline. Essentially, it'll refer you to use just the skill charts in the instructor manual to complete the review, as well as the end of course scenarios. Those will also be in the instructor manual. In a challenge version of the course, you're going to use the full instructor manual and also use the review and challenge outline. The challenge will need you to do the skill charts or cover the skills on the skills chart and then do the end of course scenario with the participant. And then the blended learning, we don't use the full instructor manual to teach a blended learning class. We have to use the blended learning supplement, which again can be found in Instructor's Corner. If we're looking at the end of course scenarios, as you can see, the full course requires you to do the end of course scenario for both the lay responder program and the professional rescuer program. In a review class, it's the same way. We have to do the end of course scenarios for the lay and pro. If we're doing a challenge course, it's the same. We have to cover the end of course scenario for the lay and the pro program. However, if you're doing a blended learning session, it is not required for you to do end of course scenarios during a lay responder course. And however, it still is required to do a end of course scenario for the professional rescuer program. When we're talking about final written exams are optional for the lay responder program across the board. In essence, we don't have to give the participant the final written exam. The only exception would be if somebody is participating in a blended learning and it was expected for them to come in with the online completion certificate. If they didn't bring the online completion certificate and they want to get their certificate that day, you can issue them the lay responder test, and they have to get an 80% or higher on the test for you to be able to issue them the certificate on the same day of the class. For the professional rescuer course, the test is required for the full course version and learning format. It is not required. Again, the participant does take a test at home when they're doing their independent study. Of course, if somebody comes into class and they didn't do their independent study at home, we can always give the option to take the test in person for a blended learning course format. They have to get an 80% or higher in order to receive their certification the same day. When we're talking about course prerequisites, for a full course, there is no course prerequisite. Participants can come in with no previous knowledge. In the review format, participants do have to have previous knowledge. In fact, they have to be certified in CPR still to enter a review course, or they can be within the 12 months grace period after expiration. In a challenge course, the individual doesn't have to have any previous certification. They just have to assert that they have knowledge of the skills. And during the course, you'll determine whether or not they have this knowledge. And in a blended learning course, if they are coming into the skill session, they have to have finished the online content and present you with their completion certificate. If they don't have the completion certificate, they can still enter the course, but in order to be certified that day, you would have to issue the end of course multiple choice examination, and they have to get an 80%. And if we're looking at the course presentation can be used during the full course, and you would use the full version of the course presentation, which will have all the videos and all the lecture points and skill charts and activities all embedded into one Adobe file. In the review version, you can use the full version of the course presentation, or you can use the blended learning version of the course presentation, since the review course will only have video. It won't have lecture. And during a challenge, you don't use any video or lecture material or reference material, so that's a none. During the blended learning session, you have to use the blended learning version of the course presentation, since the blended learning version of the course presentation only has video on it. It doesn't have any lecture points. Okay, so now we're going to have some knowledge check questions related to course formats. Here is the first one. If I am teaching a blended learning course, I have to make sure that I do which of the following? A, download, print, and use the blended learning supplement from Instructor's Corner. B, ask participants to hand in their online completion certificates. C, that I make sure that I'm using the blended learning course presentation. Or D, all of the above. If you answer D, that is the correct answer. The next knowledge check question. Which of the following course formats does not require the participant to have any previous knowledge nor any pre-course work? In other words, they can come into the course format knowing nothing about CPR. A, a full course. B, a review course. C, a challenge course. Or D, blended learning. If you answered A, the full course, that is correct. The full course is designed to educate the individual on all the theory and knowledge via lectures and activities, and also to give time to practice the skills until they meet all the criteria and objectives. The next knowledge check question related to course formats. Which of the following course format requires that the participant have strong previous knowledge of the skills and course content? During this course format, no help, no videos, nor review of the information will be provided to the participant. Is it A, the full course format, B, the review course format, C, the challenge course, or D, blended learning? If you answered C, the challenge course format, that is correct. Anyone who enters a challenge course has to have previous knowledge of the information because there will be nothing taught during a challenge course. So now that you know about teaching a full service class versus when you're going to be teaching a community course, remember if you're teaching a full service class, you have to prepare for this and you have to contact the full service group so that you get logistical information about where you're going, how many people you're teaching, what are the names of these people, what does the classroom look like. Full service classes generally are taught off-site, so you don't want to be shooting in the dark when you're going to a full service class. Versus a community course where you're normally going to be teaching at a Red Cross facility. So you already are going to be familiar with the classroom and how you're going to lay out your materials. Also, go into Instructor's Corner to review the guidelines for conducting review and challenge courses. You want to be able to be comfortable with doing this. More than likely, review courses and challenge courses are going to be done in the full service delivery method. Instructor's Corner also has information about blended learning. So it's very likely that as a new PTOC, you're going to be teaching a blended learning course soon because most of our classes are blended learning. Since blended learning has a online component, the classroom portion is going to be shorter, which is more attractive to our participants when they are looking to purchase training with us. They like the fact that the classroom session is shorter. So usually our enrollments to blended learnings are very high. So as soon as you can, make sure that you go into Instructor's Corner and download the How to Teach Blended Learning document. If a customer asks you about enrolling into a CPR class, whether you're at the supermarket or you're at the Red Cross office or you're teaching a class, make sure that you refer them to 1-800-RED-CROSS. They'll be able to take care of that person.